Hanan, welcome to Future of Fashion podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You are an adaptive fashion designer working tirelessly to create clothing for the disabled community.
Absolutely.
You are ensuring no person with disability, chronic illness, neurodiversity, or undergoing treatment has to give up their style in the favor of comfort.
Yeah.
Can you please tell me more about your journey and how it all started with Intotum?
Yeah. So Intotum, we're going to be actually celebrating our second birthday at the end of this month, which I'm very excited about. But it's been under development for a lot longer than that. So I actually started Intotum because I saw how my granddad was really affected by the lack of clothing following cancer, because he had to get a stoma bag. He has a urostomy, and he really struggles to find clothing that works with it because trousers are too tight or tops didn't cover it, and he really lost his confidence when he had that stoma bag. And I wasn't happy with this. I wasn't happy seeing that there wasn't any options for him, and I already was making my own clothes because I didn't like the way clothes felt. And so that's when I really kind of discovered that there was this word adaptive, and that there was this, idea of adaptive fashion, but that it wasn't hitting the mark, that it was medical, and that people were being left behind. And really, that's when I decided, okay, I need to do something about this. So Intotum's actually been in development for a long time, almost 5 years, but 2 years of actually being a business. And when I really kind of had that momentum and that moment where I decided I was going to turn this into a business, because I realised other people weren't going to do it for me. They weren't willing to listen to me or to the disabled community and hear that we wanted better clothing. So I decided to start it myself.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. And I think this is how the successful brands, they just hit with personal messages. And it's very much more powerful. And observing it from different lenses, this is how this eagerness has been, I believe, building up inside of you. Okay, I need to show my presence and I need to create my vision that it needs to become reality.
Absolutely.
So well done for
Thank
this.
you.
If I may ask you about your designs, so now I'm gonna move the conversations more about the clothing itself. So your designs emphasize accessibility and adaptability. We touched upon accessibility. How do you approach creating pieces that are stylish, functional, and inclusive for all body shapes and sizes?
So for us, adaptive fashion is about everybody, as you say. It's about including everybody, and that means including them in the design process. And so we work with our disabled community. We co-design all of our products. One of our mottos is, we don't make it unless you ask for it, because I'm never going to tell you what you should wear or what you want to wear. And so that's why we co-design, and we hold focus groups down to even the materials we use, the colours we go for. We go through people and we ask them, what do you want to see, which colour do you prefer, what material do you prefer the feel of, because we want to make sure that our pieces are exactly what everyone wants to wear. And then through that, we have to balance the comfort, the function, and the fashion and the style of the clothing. And so what we do is we make sure that our clothing is comfortable and functional first, and then we kind of bring in the aesthetic and build in that aesthetic and make sure it looks kind of like everybody else's, because that's what we're told. We're told, I want to look like everybody else, so we want to make our pieces timeless, classic wardrobe staples, but with all that hidden, built-in functionality and comfort, because what we do is we make sure they're sensory friendly as well, down to even testing if our fabrics rustle or make too much noise, because we want them to be perfect. And I would never ever put a piece out I wouldn't be proud to wear myself.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that surprised you when you were asking all people how actually do they feel about the material? Is there any material that really surprised you in a positive or negative way?
What surprised me actually is when I started to do research and really focus on sensory-friendly fabrics, is I think people have a misconception that it should just be soft and fluffy. But when you start to make clothing too soft or too fluffy, then it makes you a bit too sleepy, which is something that I learned, and that you've got to find the real kind of right balance. And people don't want their clothing to look like pajamas either, or look like track bottoms and things like that. They want them to look smart. And so, even just what I'm wearing right now, this outfit is sensory friendly because we make sure it's soft, it's got lots of stretch to it, and it's got movement and ease to it. And all of the seams on all of our clothing is flat as well, so you're not going to feel those. But it's still a material that is, more everyday material rather than something too soft, because we want you to feel comfortable but still awake in your clothing.
Exactly, and I think you have a very strong point, because you're right. Who wants to look like they're just getting out of bed?
Exactly.
And they don't look presentable. Okay, thank you so much
You're
for your
welcome.
answer. Beyond the clothing itself, Intotum has championed representation in fashion. Why it's so important for you that disabled people see themselves reflected in campaigns and on the runways?
I think it's so important to me because we never ever see disability representation, really. I saw some stats that only 4% of adverts in the UK include disabled representation, which is crazy when you think about the fact it's 1 in 4 people in the UK with a disability. And I think we need to level the playing field, and that's what I'm trying to do with my clothing. And so it's really important to me that my campaigns and my marketing and the media that I put out also reflects that and reflects the brand message and reflects my community authentically, which is why we open cast all of our opportunities. So our fashion show today and our photo shoot, which we're going to be doing in a few days, and all of our photo shoots that we've ever done, we open cast them from our community to have real authentic voices represented. And also it's an opportunity for people to see themselves that never do. And that was so lovely in our last photo shoot is we had people come and model for us that had never modeled before. It's, your average person that thinks, I could do that. And that's what we want to show, because our clothing is for everyone. It's not for certain few. And I think by showing that through our campaigns, not only are we showing to other brands and, to society that this is what real inclusion looks like, but we're also following through with that promise that we put out with our clothing, that this is for everybody.
Thank you so much, and thank you for fighting for this 4%. We want to increase them to
Yeah,
94.
absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. Looking ahead, what's the next for Intotum Fashion, and how do you hope your work continues to influence the industry towards more inclusive practices?
There's so many exciting things coming for Intotum, and first of all, we're going to be releasing our new collection, which we're showing here today, which I'm so excited about because we've kept it secret till now. So I know lots of people are really excited to see that. And then we're also working on a really exciting sportswear project. We're going to be trying to create a new class of adaptive sports clothing. So we're doing a lot behind the scenes on that. We've been trying to get everybody involved in the research on this one as we start a whole new chapter for Intotum in sports clothing. But ultimately, I really see Intotum on the high street. That's where I want us to be next. I want our customers to be able to not just find us online, but find us on their high street and be able to come in and find a shop that's for them, where the clothing is for them and they can pick it up off the rail. And that is honestly my biggest dream.
Well, I wish you that with all my heart.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
We can't wait to see your collection.
Very excited.